Okay, so I want to do a little bit more with a model in Blender, but I wanted to start off with this particular problem. It happens when your pop-up got blocked. Okay, so SketchUp is using a pop-up. You can say always allow that pop-up, and then when I refresh that or say sign in as Michael, it should let me in. It may take a couple more clicks to make that happen, but I will be able to get into my account after that. So now I'm able to open this model from Rebecca, and I'm going to use it to solve a quick problem or two and then bring that into Blender and keyframe the camera, not just the rotation. So one of the problems that we have is that somewhere along the way something got erased from the bottom. So I'm going to double click on it and select. Instead of the eraser tool, I'm trying to be a little more careful. And I've got this open bottom here. It is pretty easy to draw a line from one side to another and heal that surface. Now this one right here probably was an inside part. If I click and go to Entity Info, I can see that that is a front side. But I'm just going to, again, push it up and heal the surface. And that sometimes will work and not break the insides of anything. So now I have a more complete model. It's got a very colorful front part, and I would like to be able to show it from the top as well. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file. If you ever run into problems with it not saving, then do a save as with a new name. If that still doesn't work, you could download the SKP file, which is what I use to just upload this to my student folder on my SketchUp account. Now, I've had a lot of students who are having trouble with navigation. Here under App Settings, you can go to Navigation and reset it. So if zooming in and out with the scroll wheel doesn't work anymore, or anything else weird happens, you can just reset it back to normal. All right, so I'm going to now download this. Export as a Collada file, and click Export. Again, that goes to our Downloads folder when we pop up here. So while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and open Blender. And there I am able to download. And what you'll notice is that without any textures being applied, that the Downloads folder simply has a DAE file. You don't have to worry about the zip file or anything else. So I'm just going to put that in my Collada folder. So I will be able to easily find it here in Blender. So let's go ahead and import that file. Import Collada. And go to my 3D project folder, Collada folder. Staying organized means I can find these files when I need them. And let me take a look through my camera, but I'm also going to switch to the fully rendered mode. And I can tell right now that I could probably get my camera a little bit closer. So I'm going to get a little closer to it. And let's take a look. So what we're going to do is we're going to do more than 3 seconds. But I'm going to have it spin around one way and then just spin around the other. So what would be a good way to do this? Well, let's find out. So for my output, I'm going to change this to, let's say, 450 frames. Zoom out a little bit and take my model, or Rebecca's model here, and I'm going to keyframe its rotation. So I'm going to say, keyframe. One way is just click on that little diamond. That one number has been keyframed. And then I'm going to go to 300 and type it right in here, 300, and have it spin around 360 degrees. Set a keyframe, and let's see what that looks like. So we've got it spinning around. And for the most part, this is the interesting part, right? And then we get to see the back side of it. So as it's spinning around, we may want to take a look at the top side of this instead. The other thing I want to check here is this light. The light is pretty far away. So I'm going to move that a little closer so that it's well illuminated. Now I'll be able to see those shadows and stuff as it spins around a little better. See that shadow right there? All right, so what we want to do is have it spin, and decide when we want the camera to start moving. It'll be different for different models. I'm just going to pick, let's say, 200 here. Well, let's go to about right here. And go to my camera. So its position and angle, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to right-click and insert keyframes for both location and rotation. And then I'm going to go forward to the end. And I know at the end I want to be looking down at my model. So I don't know what the numbers are supposed to be, but I'm going to Control-Alt-0 on my number pad and get a lot closer to where I want it to be. So I can bring this down a little bit, and now I can insert keyframes for those. So we've got it spinning right about here. You can see that it leaves the frame and then comes back into its position. So two things I want to do. First, I want the SketchUp model to go back to 0 so that it's still moving. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to insert the keyframes for that. So now it's going to start moving back the other way kind of quickly. But this is a real problem. So when it leaves, let's look at the camera keyframes. When it leaves, I'm going in between these two keyframes because right here, I really want it to be in a different spot. So I am going to play with these numbers. So if I can bring it closer on the x-axis and maybe farther away, I just need to get it back in the frame. There it is. Insert a keyframe. So I just split the difference, and now I've got the model in the frame for the whole first part of this. And let's see what happens here at the end. It starts spinning around the other way. And now we're looking at it from the top. Let's take a look at that now. Press play. We get to see that. Then the camera starts going up in the air. Needed a little adjustment so that it stays where it's supposed to, and then it spins back the other way. That's one way to get a view from the top. Now we want to render animation. A lot of you are not doing this. I didn't even save my project here, so I'm going to save this in my Blender folder with a good name here. So 230221. Very bad practice here. Rebecca S. Model Spin. Put your name on the end. Probably won't need to do that. I'm using something of hers. But don't forget your output. A lot of folks have forgotten that you click on this to give the output a name. Otherwise, you just end up with some numbers. Okay, so let's do that. 230221, Rebecca S. Model Spin, and always your name on the end. So I've given it a good name. Let's do 100%, and then I'll just show you what it ended up looking like at the end. So a couple more points here. Notice there's no asterisk after the word Blender. That means that this has been saved. If it crashes, I can just open it and try again. Otherwise, I could lose whatever other work that I've done. Another thing I wanted to show you is right now, it's moving along fairly slowly. If you need to speed things up, you can change the samples right here. So this has 64 samples. If I lower it to 32, it'll go quite a bit faster. I've even sometimes lowered it as far as 16. And watch that blue line there. When I press enter, it's going to start going along very, very quickly. Now that does change the quality of your render, especially the shadows. You can see they're kind of rough in there right now. It's not going to be as smooth, but you can definitely like finish up really quickly, or you just want to do a test render, but at 100%, you can do that pretty easily.